The silence after the collapse was alive. Dust floated in gold-lit air, spiraling in slow motion around Elara as she stood trembling on the fractured platform. The underground city stretched before her, vast, cathedral-like caverns carved from the bones of the earth, ancient towers half buried in stone and sand. Each structure pulsed faintly with veins of light, threads that moved like rivers beneath translucent walls. She could still hear the echoes of the alarms far above, distant, dying. Somewhere up there, the Eternum facility was in ruins, and Hale's men were either dead or running. Down here, however, something else had awakened. Elara stepped forward, clutching the small data drive Nira had given her before she vanished. Its metal casing flickered faintly, resonating with the golden pulse around her. Every time her heart beat, the air seemed to vibrate. The deeper she moved into the cavern, the less gravity seemed to obey its own rules. Dust and fragments of stone hung suspended longer than they should. The air shimmered like heat over desert sand. At the base of the nearest tower, a monolith of obsidian-like material veined with gold, she saw carvings. Familiar ones. The same iris symbol that had appeared on the tablet. She reached out and traced the groove of the spiral. Warmth flooded into her skin. The pattern pulsed once, and light rippled through the walls like water. Suddenly, she wasn't standing in ruins anymore. The cavern around her flickered, no longer broken, but whole. Towers stood tall and luminous. Pathways of light connected them like constellations. The air sang with harmonic tones. And in the center of it all was the source, a massive orb of golden energy suspended above the earth, rotating slowly, releasing waves of brilliance that made her eyes water. Elara's breath caught. She wasn't hallucinating. She was seeing the past. Figures moved within the light. Human shapes, tall, slender, robed in radiant fabric that moved like liquid fire. Their faces were blurred by brilliance, but their presence filled her with both awe and terror. They gathered around the orb, extending their hands toward it, whispering words that her mind couldn't process, not as language, but as vibration. The sound pierced through her skull, filling her veins with electricity. Then one of them turned. It saw her. The being's head tilted, and the blinding energy around its form dimmed slightly, revealing eyes, not physical, but twin spirals of light, each turning inward infinitely. Its voice wasn't sound. It was inside her. "You hear us again, conduit of the lost light." Elara stumbled back. What are you?" The cavern flickered, the vision rippled like heat waves. The being moved closer, leaving trails of golden light in its wake. "Once, you called us gods. Then, ghosts. Then myths. We are none of these. We are the architects of resonance. You were the inheritors." Her heart hammered. "I don't understand." "You will. You already do." A second figure appeared, this one fractured, its form flickering between light and ash, as if half of it couldn't hold its shape. Its voice was broken, layered, ancient. "You awakened the seal before the appointed hour. The vessel is incomplete. The debt will come due." Elara's knees weakened. "The price," she whispered. The air around her began to hum louder. The vision trembled. The golden towers cracked and faded. The world snapped back to the ruined present. Elara gasped, collapsing to her knees. The orb, once radiant, now hovered faintly in the distance, pulsing weakly. The figures were gone. A voice echoed faintly across the cavern, not alien this time. "Hale." "Elara." She looked up sharply. On the far ledge, Hale stood flanked by two armed soldiers, their rifles drawn but trembling. The golden light reflected in his eyes made him look otherworldly. "What did you see?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the ruins. She pushed herself to her feet. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." He descended via a broken staircase, his boots crunching against glass-like stone. "Try me." "There's something alive down here," she said. "It's not human, not in any way we understand. They called themselves the architects." Hale froze mid-step. His expression flickered. Recognition. Fear. "You spoke to them?" "They spoke to me." For a moment, his composure faltered. Then he straightened. "That means you're the key." He gestured to his soldiers. "Bring her in." The two men approached cautiously. Elara backed away until her heel met the edge of the platform. A fissure split the ground, glowing faintly beneath her boots. "Don't," she warned. But Hale smiled faintly. "You think this is a choice? You've already connected to the light. You are part of it now." As the soldiers lunged, the fissure beneath her exploded with light. A blinding column of energy shot upward, engulfing her and throwing the men backward. Hale shielded his face as wind and light roared through the cavern. When the glow subsided, Elara was gone. He stared at the spot where she had been. The ground was blackened, but there was no body. Only faint golden dust swirling upward, drifting toward the orb. Elara opened her eyes, not to the cavern, but to somewhere else entirely. She floated in a vast field of light, weightless. Shapes moved around her, the same radiant beings, but now clearer, their forms like woven starlight. Their eyes were endless spirals, and within their chests pulsed something like a heart made of galaxies. One of them reached out and touched her forehead. "The conduit is restored. The line endures." A flood of visions tore through her mind, civilizations rising and falling, humans kneeling before pillars of light, the artifact being sealed beneath the sand. She saw wars fought over it, centuries of silence, and then, herself, unearthing it. "Why me?" she gasped. "Because your blood remembers." She saw flashes, Mercer, studying her DNA, his notes covered in spirals. He had known. "The humans above misuse what they cannot control," the being said. "They seek to claim the resonance for dominion, not balance. You must choose, silence it forever, or let it consume them all." Her body trembled. "I can't stop it." "You already have begun." The being extended its hand again, placing something in hers, a fragment of golden crystal, pulsing faintly. "This is the heart shard. Return it to the seal, and the light will sleep once more. Fail, and the world will burn." The vision shattered. Elara hit the ground hard, gasping. She was back in the cavern, but everything had changed. The orb was dimmer now, and cracks of dark energy rippled through the walls. The air felt charged, unstable. The shard still glowed faintly in her hand. In the distance, Hale shouted orders. His soldiers were retreating up broken stairways. Machinery hummed somewhere above, extraction drones lowering cables, floodlights slicing through the smoke. Elara pushed herself up and started running. The pulse of the shard matched her heartbeat. Every step she took left faint golden footprints in the dust. The city groaned, alive, shifting, as if the structures themselves were reacting to her movement. Behind her, Hale's voice echoed again, furious now. "Elara, you can't run from what you are." She didn't look back. She ran toward the deepest part of the ruins, where the energy hummed strongest, toward the seal. The world trembled as if the earth's pulse had quickened. Elara sprinted through corridors of translucent stone, the light around her flickering erratically. Walls pulsed as if alive, veins of molten gold threading through the black rock like living nerves. Her breath echoed off surfaces that seemed to listen. Each step brought a low vibration underfoot, deep and rhythmic, the same frequency she'd heard when the being spoke inside her mind. Something was waking. She glanced at the heart shard in her palm. Its glow was dimming, draining as if the energy of the city itself was feeding on it. She shoved it into her pocket and pressed onward. Behind her, Hale's voice echoed again, closer this time. "Elara, you don't understand what you're holding." She ignored him. He didn't know, he couldn't, what the beings had shown her. That the artifact wasn't just a relic. It was a key to a cosmic vault buried beneath humanity's myths. A memory older than civilization itself. The corridor opened into a massive atrium, the heart of the underground city. Here, the architecture curved upward like ribs of a colossal beast, arching toward a dome filled with constellations of light. In the center stood a monolithic pedestal, cracked, ancient, but radiating energy. Symbols covered its surface. The same spirals. The same iris. And at its core, a circular indentation. A missing piece. Elara froze. The shard in her pocket pulsed once, answering the pedestal's call. "This is it," she whispered. As she stepped closer, her reflection shimmered in the obsidian floor. For a heartbeat, she didn't see herself, she saw the radiant beings. Dozens of them, standing around her reflection like ghosts of light. Her heart hammered. "Are you still here?" A whisper, not through her ears, but through every molecule of air around her. "We never left." The reflection brightened. The shapes of the beings coalesced into clear outlines, their bodies like starfire. "The vault is the memory of your kind," one said. "We built it when the first flame of your species flickered in the dark." Elara frowned. "You're saying you created us?" "No. We found you. Fragile, transient. But within you, the sparks sang the same song as the stars. You were resonance-born. We nurtured you, and when you turned your light toward destruction, we sealed the song away." She took a step back. "And now it's unsealed because of me. Because the balance demanded a conduit once more." The walls around her began to shimmer. Patterns crawled across the stone, forming living murals that shifted like liquid. She saw scenes play out in golden flame, humans receiving light from the sky, the rise of ancient cities, temples built around glowing orbs. Then, war. The same light turned red. Beams of energy scorched landscapes. Towers fell. The beings withdrew, sealing themselves behind shimmering gates. Humanity forgot. Elara fell to her knees, overwhelmed. "We destroyed everything you gave us." "Creation and destruction are siblings," the voice said softly. "But now the cycle turns again. You must decide if the song ends or begins anew." Her thoughts scattered, too many voices, too many truths. But one image kept burning in her mind, the orb above the cavern, cracking apart. If the orb collapses, what happens to the world above? The answer came not as words, but as an image, the earth splitting, skies filled with fire, oceans glowing from within. "It will not collapse. It will awaken." Her breath caught. "You mean, it's not a weapon?" "It is life, misremembered as death. The orb is a seed, a bridge between worlds. But the greed of men turned it into a prison." A deep rumble shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere above, metal screamed, the facility supports were failing. Then, another sound, boots. Hale and his soldiers emerged through a breach in the wall, weapons raised. He looked around in awe. "My God!" The golden murals reflected in his eyes. "It's a machine, a power source beyond comprehension." He turned to her, voice trembling with both fear and triumph. "Do you realize what this could mean, Elara? We can rebuild everything, energy, civilization, all of it. No more wars, no scarcity. This is the dawn of a new age." Elara shook her head. "It's not ours to use." He laughed bitterly. "Spoken like someone who's never had to fight for survival. The world above is burning, Voss. And you'd let it die because you're scared of a few ghosts." "They're not ghosts," she snapped. "They're alive. And if you activate that thing, you'll destroy more than you'll ever save." He raised his rifle. "Step aside." The shard pulsed in her pocket, almost as if it could feel the threat. The murals around them began to tremble, their light dimming. "Elara," he said softly, "you're not a scientist anymore. You're the key. But if you won't open the door, I'll make you." She stepped backward toward the pedestal. "You don't understand what's inside that orb, Hale. It's not energy. It's consciousness." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" "The architects. They didn't die. They became it." For a moment, he hesitated, then fired. The bullet never reached her. It dissolved midair, caught by an invisible wave of golden force that rippled outward from the shard. The light expanded, swallowing the chamber in radiance. Hale and his men shielded their faces, shouting. When the light cleared, Elara stood at the center, the shard now embedded in her chest, its glow radiating through her skin like molten gold. Her voice came out layered, human and not. "You cannot take what was never yours." The golden murals behind her flared to life, and the air filled with the silhouettes of the beings. They towered over the soldiers, weightless yet immense, their presence pressing down like gravity. Hale stumbled backward, eyes wide. What are they?" "The beginning," they said in unison. Elara could feel their thoughts. They weren't angry, they were ancient, sorrowful, watching humanity repeat its cycles of arrogance and loss. the nearest being extended a hand toward Hale. Its voice resonated through the walls. Your kind always reaches for the flame, never realizing you are made of it. Light poured over him. He screamed, not in pain, but in revelation, before collapsing, unconscious. His men fled into the tunnels. Elara sank to her knees, trembling as the beings surrounded her. You stand between two worlds, one said. The human and the luminous. The conduit of both. But balance demands sacrifice. She looked up weakly. What kind of sacrifice? The light must anchor in flesh. Either yours, or the world's. Her stomach twisted. You mean I have to die? No. You must become. The shard pulsed brighter, syncing with her heartbeat. She could feel her body changing, molecules vibrating faster, skin glowing faintly. Her mind flooded with alien knowledge, ancient languages, star maps that stretched across time. She screamed, not in pain, but from the weight of knowing. And then, silence. The beings stepped back. Their forms began to fade into mist. When the seal calls, you will answer, they said. Until then, run. The chamber began to collapse. Pillars shattered, light seeping out like blood. Elara grabbed Hale by the arm and dragged him toward the exit. He stirred, dazed. What happened? Later, she panted. We have to get out now. They stumbled through a corridor as the golden city crumbled behind them. The orb overhead flickered violently, its surface cracking, leaking both light and shadow. Elara looked back one last time. For a heartbeat, she saw one of the radiant beings watching her, not from this world, but from the light itself, and in its eyes was something achingly human. Remember, it whispered. Everything has a price. The ceiling gave way. Elara and Hale dove through the collapsing archway just as the entire cavern erupted in a blinding explosion of light. The world was fire and dust. Elara burst from the collapsing tunnel, dragging Hale behind her as the ground convulsed. Behind them, the ancient city imploded in a bloom of gold and shadow. The shock wave hurled her forward into the night. She hit the sand hard, rolling until the world stopped spinning. The air smelled of ozone and scorched earth. For a long moment she just lay there, staring up at a sky split by ribbons of light, auroras that shouldn't exist this far south. The desert around the Eternum facility shimmered with strange luminescence. Cracks glowed faintly beneath the surface, as if the planet itself was bleeding light. Hale groaned beside her, coughing. We're alive. Barely, she said, pushing herself up. Her body felt weightless and wrong, her skin faintly aglow beneath the torn fabric of her suit. Every breath sent a pulse through the sand around her, tiny ripples of energy responding to her heartbeat. Hale stared at her. You're shining. I know. She rose unsteadily, the golden shimmer fading as she focused. The light obeyed her now, or at least, it listened. From the ruins behind them, a column of light erupted into the heavens, splitting the stars. At its peak, the beam fractured into 1,000 threads that spread outward like veins across the sky. Elara felt the pulse in her chest answer the rhythm. It wasn't a machine's hum, it was alive. They said the world would burn if the light awakened, she whispered. Hale looked at her, dazed. Then what happens now? Before she could answer, the sand around them trembled. The light beneath the surface surged, forming patterns, spirals, sigils, the same markings carved into the walls below. Elara, Hale said, backing away. What's happening? They're not gone, she murmured. They're everywhere. The whole planet is their echo. She reached out instinctively, placing her hand on the glowing ground. Images flashed behind her eyes, cities around the globe, monuments, sacred sites, all pulsing faintly in resonance with the beam. The Eternum artifact hadn't just awakened one city. It had reactivated a network. Every sealed vault across the world was stirring. Her heart hammered faster. Oh God! You are the anchor. The voice returned, not external this time. It came from inside her mind, threaded with warmth and sorrow. We did not intend this. But the chain is broken. The balance falters. Elara stumbled backward, clutching her head. Stop. Please, I can't. Hale caught her by the shoulders. Who are you talking to? Them, she gasped. They're inside me now. He looked horrified. Then we have to contain it. Maybe the shard. She shook her head. If we destroy it, the network collapses violently. Billions could die. Then what's the alternative? She met his gaze, eyes burning with light. I have to finish what they started. Before he could protest, the wind shifted, unnatural, hot, and electric. The sand around them began to lift, drawn into swirling vortices of gold dust. A silhouette stepped from the radiance ahead. Not human. Not entirely. It moved like a person, but its form was translucent, built from layers of shimmering geometry, a lattice of energy wearing the echo of a body. Its face was indistinct, flickering between light and shadow. Elara Voss, it said, its voice both male and female, layered in harmonics. You carry the seed. Hale raised his weapon instinctively. What the hell are you? The being turned toward him. One of the custodians. We were left to sleep until the Conduit awoke. Now, the architect's song calls across the void, and others will come to silence it. Elara stepped forward cautiously. Others? You mean, more of your kind? Not ours. The ones who heard your species first scream in the dark. She felt a chill ripple through her. Enemies. Predators. They followed the light once before. They will again. The being extended its hand. In its palm shimmered a small sphere, identical to the orb in the cavern, only the size of an apple. Take it. This fragment will guide you to the next seal. Elara hesitated. Why me? Because the architects chose you, and because your blood still remembers the first fire. She reached out and took it. The sphere fused into her palm, leaving only a faint symbol glowing beneath the skin. The custodian began to fade, dissolving into photons. Seek the resonant pillars in the frozen north. There you will find the second gate, and the truth of what you are. Then it was gone. Silence fell again, broken only by the distant rumble of collapsing stone. Hale turned to her. You're not really considering following that thing's directions, are you? I don't have a choice. Elara. She faced him fully, the wind catching her hair, her eyes like molten metal. If I don't go, the light keeps spreading. And if that happens, there won't be a world left to argue about. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, reluctantly, he nodded. Then I'm coming with you. She almost smiled. You don't even know what you're signing up for. Doesn't matter. Someone has to make sure the hero doesn't burn herself alive. Thunder rolled overhead, but there were no clouds, only the pulse of golden auroras shifting across the stars. Elara looked toward the horizon. Far in the distance, at the edge of the desert, she could see faint flickers of light, other awakenings, other vaults beginning to hum. The world had changed overnight. And somewhere beyond the reach of her sight, something was answering the call. She could feel it, a distant rhythm, alien and hungry, moving closer. The wind howled again, scattering sand over the ruins, and with it came the faintest echo of the architects' voices. Every light casts a shadow, Conduit. And the shadow is coming. Elara turned north. The glow in her veins dimmed to a steady heartbeat of gold. She tightened her pack, adjusted the drive Nira had given her, and started walking toward the horizon. Behind her, the crater that had once been the Eternum facility cooled in the dark, its center still pulsing faintly like a dying star. As she disappeared into the wasteland, Hale followed, limping, still watching the sky. Above them, the auroras twisted once more, forming for an instant the shape of an eye. Then the light blinked out.